Somewhere in northeastern Europe lies a country of wild contrast. Deep inside its forest, it once hid fully armed nuclear missiles. Today it builds over half the world's scientific lasers. Tech so advanced that NASA relies on them. But there is a vibrant heartbeat beyond science. This nation boasts one of the highest female-to-male ratios in the European Union. Home to women celebrated for the beauty of the Baltic. It is a place that regularly comes alive with wonderfully eccentric and unique festivals such as Rossos and Ujavanis. And here is the secret nobody tells you. Despite growing up in what was historically one of Europe's loneliest nations, its youth are now ranked among the happiest people alive. This is real life in Lithuania. In Lithuania, women make up about 52.8% of the population. Lithuanian women are among the tallest in Europe, averaging close to 5'6". The beauty of Lithuanian women is a unique blend of the delicate classic charm of the Baltic region and the modern dynamic energy of Europe. Admiring a Lithuanian girl, one is easily captivated by her snow-white skin, her golden hair shimmering like autumn sunlight, and especially her clear blue or deep gray eyes, which exude a dreamy classic charm. The country has one of the highest divorce rates in the European Union, around 2.5 splits per 1,000 people, sharing that top tier with Latvia and Estonia. And yet, it stays oddly traditional. Plenty of first marriages here still skip the modern step of living together first. So you get a culture that commits fast, sometimes breaks fast, and keeps doing both with full sincerity. The modern part is unmistakable. Dating apps are everywhere, and young women increasingly choose their own independence over rushing to the altar. Lithuania is also one of the more open countries in the EU when it comes to crossing borders for love. By some counts, around 1 in 5 marriages here involves a foreign partner, and roughly a quarter of single women use a dating app. If you were wondering which ones, the global names lead Tinder, then Bumble, alongside local platforms like Dragas. So, no, you are not imagining the international interest. Where are you watching from? Drop it below. And if you want the name of the app locals actually use to meet Lithuanian women, just comment the number 2 and we will share it. Happy, free, thriving. So why do so many of them still struggle to find love? A Lithuanian woman on average outlives the man beside her by almost 9 years. 81.9 years for women against 73.1 for men. That is the second largest life expectancy gap in the European Union. And it is not random. The main drivers are heart disease and a cluster of risk factors that hit men hardest here. Alcohol, smoking, stress carried silently. The gap is not fate. It is a set of choices and pressures stacked up over a lifetime. Then there is the leaving. For 2 decades, young Lithuanians have moved abroad to Scandinavia, to Western Europe, chasing higher wages. And the people leaving have skewed heavily male. In 2024 alone, 73% of everyone who immigrated from Lithuania was a man. Just 27% were women. Combine men who leave young with men who die earlier, and a population of under 3 million tilts firmly toward its women. The very thing visitors notice on the street traced all the way back to its real cause. This is a nation of quiet contradictions, and they go deeper than demographics. Because this is also a country that never quite stopped being wild. From the midsummer fires it still dances around to the forbidden taboos its people refuse to break even now. That wild streak runs all the way back to when these were the last pagans in Europe, and every summer it catches fire. In the most recent World Happiness Report, people under 30 in Lithuania rated their own lives a 7.76 out of 10, the highest score for young people anywhere on Earth. Not in Europe, on Earth. The country as a whole climbed to 16th in the world, up from 19th the year before. For a small Baltic nation most people could not place on a map, that is a quiet kind of miracle. So why are they so happy? The answer is unusually concrete. University is free, rent is cheap compared to Western Europe, and the economy young people walked into is booming. Lithuania built one of the fastest tech scenes in Europe almost from nothing. Companies like Vinted, Nord Security, and Tessanet, and that pushed wages up by double digits. Vinted alone became the country's first unicorn and is now valued around 8 billion. The whole tech ecosystem is worth roughly 16 billion, nearly 40 times larger than it was a decade ago. And Vilnius was rated the fastest growing tech city in the EU. Add nightlife, government grants for young creators, and you get a generation that has reasons to stay and reasons to smile. There is one more reason, and it matters most. Anyone under 30 here is the first generation to live their entire life in a free, independent Lithuania. They never stood in a Soviet breadline. They never learned to whisper. But behind the happiest young people on earth sits a shadow almost nobody talks about. One that lives in the same families one generation up. We will get to it. To feel the old Lithuania, you wait for the longest day of the year. On the night of June 24th comes Joninės, also called Rasos, the dew holiday. A midsummer festival, older than the country's Christianity, first recorded back in 1372. People weave crowns of flowers, light enormous bonfires, march with torches, and dance until the brief northern night gives way to dawn. The fire is the point for a people who once worshipped the sun. The shortest darkness of the year is something to celebrate out loud, and there is magic woven through it. Legend says a fern blooms only once for a single instant at midnight deep in the forest. And whoever finds that fern flower will understand the secrets of nature, read minds, and hold lasting happiness. So couples slip into the woods together to search for the fern flower, which is exactly as romantic as it sounds. Unmarried women braid wreaths from 9 or 12 herbs and float them down the river to read their futures, leap over the flames and wash their faces in the morning dew. Winter gets its own ritual, and this one wears a mask. The feast before Lent fills the streets with costumes and grotesque masks, and ends by burning a straw figure of an old woman named Moray, a stand-in for death and winter to frighten the cold away and call the spring back. None of this survived by accident. Lithuania was the last country in Europe to adopt Christianity in 1387, so its pagan festivals were never stamped out. They were folded into the new faith and, kept breathing. The old soul did not die here, it just learned to share the calendar. And it never strayed far from the forest because this is a nation that practically lives inside its trees. Roughly a third of Lithuania is forest. Add more than 2,500 lakes and over 800 rivers, and you start to understand that nature here is not a weekend escape, it is, honestly, the texture of ordinary life. The coast surprises people most. The beaches at Palanga and along the Curonian Spit are genuinely beautiful. Soft, pale sand and pine and quiet, which catches travelers off guard who expected something gray and post-Soviet. The land even has a signature smell. Lithuania commissioned its own national scent, the scent of Lithuania, blended by the historic French perfume house, Gallimard, carrying notes of wildflowers, ginger, raspberry, cedar, moss, and the smoke of a wood fire. That last note is not an accident. It is the smell of those pagan bonfires, bottled and handed to Lithuanian diplomats around the world. And whatever they forage from those forests tends to end up on the table in dishes that genuinely shock first-timers. Picture a soup the color of bubblegum. That is Shalt, Lithuania's cold pink soup. Beets and kefir and cucumber finished with chopped dill and a hard-boiled egg, served chilled on a hot day. It looks, frankly, unreal. It tastes bright, sour, and cooling. And it has become such a point of national pride that Vilnius throws an annual pink soup festival in its honor, and the dish floods social media every summer. The shock is the whole appeal. Then comes the heavyweight, Zeppelins are fist-sized dumplings of grated potato stuffed with meat, draped in sour cream and bacon. They are heavy, warm, and deeply loved. The unofficial national dish. The food that tastes like somebody's grandmother made it. Around them sits a whole supporting cast. Kabini, the savory meat pastries of the Karim people of Trakai, and shakotus, the spiky tree cake baked layer by layer over an open flame for Christmas. Even here the fire shows up. There is a simple thread running through all of it, a preference for natural, lightly processed food. Lots of fish and pork, things that grew nearby, strange tastes, strong flavors, real history. Now, be honest, that bright pink soup, would you dive in head first or quietly run the other way? Tell us in the comments because, honestly, some of the most surprising things in this country are not on the menu at all. They are the rules people quietly obey. Remember that Lithuania was the last country in Europe to accept Christianity in 1387. That late conversion left a mark you can still feel today because the old pagan instincts never disappeared. They just went underground into the small rules of everyday life. Here, superstition is not a museum piece. It's a set of quiet habits people follow without quite knowing why. And honestly, that is exactly what makes them forbidden in the truest sense. Some are charming. You do not whistle indoors. It summons little devils and, well, blows your money away. You do not set your bag on the floor. Your wealth just leaks right out of it. If a knife slips and falls, a male guest is coming. And if you want to get married, never sit at the corner of the table, or you'll wait 7 long years for a wedding. Meeting someone carrying an empty bucket, that's a bad sign. Shaking hands or passing anything across a threshold invites bad luck. So, people step fully inside first. Then there is the one that tells you everything. Here you do not hand someone a knife. You set it down on the table and let them choose to pick up the blade. Watch a Lithuanian do it and honestly, it looks like courtesy, almost invisible. But underneath sits an ancient unease about passing sharp things between 2 pairs of hands. It's a small refusal to tempt fate, repeated millions of times a day. And when they raise a glass, they look you dead in the eye as they say cheers, because breaking that gaze is said to bring years of bad luck of a very private kind. None of this is performance. The old beliefs, the Ramova faith that revives the pre-Christian gods, the rituals at the dinner table, they are the same pagan soul from the bonfires, still quietly steering the country. But beneath the superstitions and the smiles lies a contradiction this happy nation rarely says out loud. This is the part of the story that does not fit on a postcard.